We. No, 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 no. Not Dr. V. I'm talking about the TV. We all watch TV. But do we really know what is the economic of cable TV industry? This is my time and we are going to explain about it.
And now I'm Mindy and I would like to present to you guys about the introduction of the topic. According to Adam Smith's book, An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Prosperity of Nations, 1776, economics is the discipline of researching and condition and causes of national prosperity. The cable industry is formed up of various companies whose job it is to distribute programs from cable networks to consumer via wire connection. It started in the late of 1940s and early of 1950 as a way to expand local broadcast television broadcast to areas that broadcast signal could not. Some cable systems started importing distant transmission in the 1960s, expanding community access to television. As satellite became widely available and affordable in 1970, alternative cable networks were allowed to flourish. For now, the industry has evolved from sending broadcast signal to a limited number of households to being the nation's biggest cable provider. However, owing to high-speed internet connection in the United States, the number of cable subscriptions has fallen in prior years. Technology, legislation, and market economics have defined the cable business specific nature over the years, and as those aspects evolve and move, the cable sector was forced to reinvent both itself and its market.
Next, I'm going to talk about the evolution of cable. Cable as CATV. According to Benjamin Bates 2004, in the 1950s, Community Antenna Television Service CATV was the foundation to the cable industry in the United States, where early television reception was difficult. Amtruthnes saw a chance to set up networks in areas with poor access to broadcast signals and charge for television service. This signaled the start of the cable sector, which offered a more powerful and distinct television. Next is the market and economics. Even in smaller villages, constructing the network infrastructure requires a large upfront expenditure. The signal had to be obtained and brought in a centralized facility had to be built to intensify the signal, and a wiring network had to be set up for distribution. The focus was on a straightforward subscription model because there was little demand and alternatives were expensive. Customers had to pay a charge to access the channel provided by the CATV operator, typically on a weekly or monthly basis. By Benjamin Bates 2000. Next is impact and structure. The growth of terrestrial broadcast television was aided by CATV, particularly in rural and small towns where terrestrial transmission were not as reliable. Local stations welcomed CATV's ability to extend their signal area. Small and rural communities were frequently home to CATV systems and networks that were gradually expanded in response to demand and available resources. Demand remained low in places with adequate terrestrial transmission, since the product delivered by CATV was comparable to what was provided for free by local broadcasters, restricting cable spread into larger market.
Hey, it's time to watch the evolution of cable TV industry. Cable as competition as television evidence. The fast adoption of television and cable seem to imply a desire for programming that over-the-air broadcasters did not always meet. A few entrepreneurs began investing the idea of paying television as a means of distributing materials, mainly films and sports, that was not available on local stations. Satellite technology had advanced to the point where even small television networks could distribute their programming nationally on a budget. So then, let's see how about the market and economics of cable TV industry. The additional channels aided in increasing service demand and justifying cable expansion into new markets, particularly those already well serviced by over-the-air broadcast television stations. Premium channels that provided access to programs, primarily movies and some special sporting events that were not yet available to broadcast networks and stations, as well as genre channels that provided sports fans and new junkies with 24 hours access to their favorite types of content, outperformed broadcasters' more limited offerings. Cable gradually provided consumers with possibilities not accessible through traditional over-the-air broadcasters, giving them choice and control. Consumers discovered that they enjoyed this freedom and control and demand. This gave an impact and changes the structure. Cable also began to represent a greater threat to local television, whose programming now had to fight for fragmenting audience with imported program alternatives. Meanwhile, the telecoms business was thriving. Demand for video programming was rapidly increasing, but it paled in comparison to growth projections for other telecom areas.
Cable as broadband. Cable third incarnation as broadband telecommunications network began with the rise of digital communications and fiber optics. When fiber optics became economically viable, systems began to upgrade their infrastructure. Fiber was inexpensive and had a higher signal capacity, allowing it to carry more channels and use distinct fibers to deliver signal in different directions. As fiber networks became more accessible to houses, a completely interactive cable system became economically the future of cable. New opportunities and challenges are emerging in the cable sector. Consumer interest in cable modems for high-speed internet access has been one of the cable industry's most significant development areas. The Telecommunication Act of 1996 also permitted the cable industry to offer telephony and other telecommunication services.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Fakrul Azizi and I will talk about conclusion. Okay, in conclusion, the economic industry cable in Malaysia plays a significant role in the country's overall economic development and connectivity. The cable industry in Malaysia has witnessed steady growth and has become an essential component of the nation's infrastructure, enabling the efficient transmission of data, voice, and video signals domestically and internationally. Despite technological breakthrough in infrastructure and services, the economic strengths of running a multi-platform telecommunications provider have highlighted some of the cable industry's issues. Investors have increased their scrutiny of new media businesses as a result of the dot-com bust. So that's all from me.